Thank you, Mr. Chairman, and good afternoon, Secretary Hassel. I have a question which I had asked this morning also about the federal bonus depreciation and the corporation tax bulletin 2017-02. And the Federal Tax Cuts and Jobs Act of 2017 provided a schedule for bonus depreciation over several years, initially permitting a 100% bonus depreciation for property placed in service after September 27th of 2017. I know you're aware of this. But on December 22nd, 2017, your department issued a corporation tax bulletin, the 2017-02, addressing the disallowance and recovery of the 100% depreciation. And on background, I said this morning, I've worked in public accounting for over 20 years and worked with a lot of companies, and we try to create jobs in this state. I'm actually concerned about the message that was sent to the business community in issuance of this bulletin. And I need to ask, in your opinion, is it sound tax policy to completely allow depreciation over the usable life of business property as your bulletin prescribes, until the property is sold or otherwise disposed? I mean, we talk about this with like-kind exchanges. Now we're talking about this with actual purchases. And are you aware of any other state that has taken this position?
To address the last question first, I don't think so. But let me back up a little bit. We're working with the statute that was adopted in 2002 in order to decouple Pennsylvania corporate tax from the first version of bonus depreciation that was enacted by the federal government. And that initial federal law allowed a 30% bonus. And it was the agreement of the General Assembly and the governor at the time to not allow that to flow through into our tax. The problem that has occurred since then is that the formula that's in that decoupling statute was designed for 30%, and it doesn't work that well when the rate is something other than 30%. Because for a number of years there has been, in federal law, a bonus of 50%. And we still have had this statute that says, well, you add back the 50% bonus, but we're going to allow you to recover that by scaling up the remaining depreciation by 30%. So the formula that's in the statute doesn't work that well with a bonus that's other than 30%. And we were faced with a difficult choice. The federal bill that adopted 100% bonus depreciation passed at the end of December. And we needed to provide some quick guidance for what taxpayers were supposed to do as they began to fill out their returns early in January. And it is not within our ability as an agency, it's not within our ability to fix this formula that's in the statute. What the bulletin does is simply follows the literal letter of the law, which gives you the result that you described. And I'm not going to say that that's the correct policy result.
Well, because I know I'm maybe running out of time here. Let me just follow up on that. I mean, the reality is, though, whatever we do is going to end up being revenue neutral anyway. Now, maybe you're doing with the time value of money, but the reality is it is going to be revenue neutral over time for the state, correct?
Eventually.
Exactly.
Yes, over
well, let me
20-year
ask you.
period,
Let me just follow up, and I do want to emphasize that point. But let me follow up. We have a bill that just came out of the House committee. It was unanimous out of the Finance Committee, House Bill 2017, that brings in where we're allowed to still depreciate an asset, not necessarily take the 100%. I don't know whether you've looked at the language in that bill, and I wanted to know if you've, first of all, have you done an analysis on that bill, and would the department and administration support that language in that bill at this point?
We have looked at that bill. There was an amendment in committee recently that I think corrected some of the issues that we had with it. I think the language works as it is. And my only comment on it is that our standard answer on any tax legislation that has a fiscal impact is that it should be considered in the context of balancing the budget. And I think that's the same answer that we have on this. It's that what we have done is to buy time for the General Assembly to act, to consider what to do on this score so that it can be fixed in the statute where it belongs.
Appreciate your answer, appreciate the time. Thank you.
All right.